Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'll call to order the regularly scheduled committee meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Trustee Burbatt.
Here.
Trustee Caveney.
Here.
Trustee Crowley.
Here.
Trustee Hilly.
Here.
Trustee Johnson.
Here.
Trustee Killily.
Here.
Mayor LaRue.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, sir. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll open the floor to public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? Seeing there's no public comment, I will close the floor to public comment and move on to trustees' business. Trustee Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I only have one thing tonight. I want to let the residents know that the events committee is co-hosting a hoedown dance at the Park District on Saturday, May 17th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. It's $12. You can register online through the Park District. So come on down, get your boots on, your hat, come have a good time. We're going to have some country line dancing and other things, and it's been a fun event we've done for the last couple of years. So we're excited about our next event. And that's all I have tonight, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Burback.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we approve Ty Swanson, Superintendent Swanson, to purchase road salt for the 2025-2026 season.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please. Clerk.
Trustee Burbatt.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Caveney.
Aye.
Trustee Hilly.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Also, I supplied to everybody a copy of an invoice from ARC, the Architectural Resource Corporation, which is the vendor we were working with on the new Public Works building. This is a bill for services rendered so far. We have changed this project a number of times, and they've been out a number of times to rework things for us. So that's what this bill is for.
Anyone have any questions? It's in the amount of $30,172.50, and it's for Architectural Resource Corporation.
So have we chosen a location?
It's two locations. We're looking at fixing the existing building, which will be our main storage for vehicles. And then building a smaller facility over on the property we originally talked about, housing it by the pump houses.
Right.
About a 1,600 square foot building.
Okay. And that will be offices and what will go over there?
Offices and a couple of bays for parking and for repairs. Although the repairs thing is another thing that's kind of back up in the air.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
if that doesn't get used for that, it'll get used for additional indoor parking.
Okay.
Okay.
So, that was it. It's just for discussion.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Can we put it on the agenda for next week for approval? That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Hilly.
I just want to let everyone know that the repairs that were approved for Station 2, Fire Station 2 are underway right now. The grates and the cement, all that was approved a couple weeks ago. And a reminder that the 100-year anniversary of the Midlothian Fire Department, the celebration has been moved to May 31st of this year. That's it.
Did Chief send an email to the whole board about the old fire truck getting sold?
You're right, I forgot about that. I don't believe he did. Let me,
I didn't see it.
no. There's a buyer for the outdated, how old is it, 25?
It's 25 plus years old.
25 plus years old. There's a buyer in Arkansas that wants to purchase the old fire truck. I believe the amount was $20,000.
It's a fire department?
I did
Not an
say,
antique guy?
yeah, I don't,
I said, find out the city in Arkansas and tell me not to move there.
right?
Yeah.
No, it appeared to be I'll double check it back there, but it appeared,
Curious.
it appeared to be a rural fire department. Rural.
They have a little more relaxed rules in that rural element.
What's homeowners insurance?
What's their ISO rating?
Yeah, what's ISO?
I can't find it now. I'll get back to you and let you know.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Cavey.
Thank you, Mayor. First thing I want to talk about is the weather. We had a little rain today, and I would like to remind all of our property owners in town that property owners are not allowed to dig trenches in their yard to divert their rainwater off of their property onto their neighbors. It's a big no-no. Also, sump pump hoses should be directed to your front yard, not to the backyard where the water can discharge, again, to your neighbors. And it should be at least 10 feet off of the edge of the property line, so it's not swamping out the sidewalks. Because we're in walking season now, there are gonna be a lot of people out and about, there are kids walking to school. Overall, I think Natalie Creek performed well, except for Colmar. Unfortunately, Colmar was underwater, so we need to take another look at that and see how that piece of the creek is operating, and see if there's anything that we can do to partner with the state to try to get that culvert under 147th Street cleaned up. I know that in the Belly Button Hill area, some of those streets flooded from Midlothian Creek, not from Natalie Creek. But I do know that the village is starting to work on a project, the engineering for that neighborhood. If everybody remembers, the village required money from Cook County to do work on an engineering project, and the board just approved Robinson Engineering's proposal a couple weeks ago for them to start the engineering on that. So help is coming, but in the meantime, if everybody could, check your curbs, check your walkout basements, make sure that all the sewer covers are not clogged with leaves, that would be a very big help. I know in Jolly Homes, we had a couple neighbors calling in, letting us know that their sewers were backing up. Now, we do have an issue with some homeowners who have diverted their sump pump drain into the sewer. That is causing a big problem, and that could be one of the reasons why some of the sewers in town, around town, backed up today. So, if anybody does have their sump pump line going into the sewer, I would strongly suggest you divert it and put it in your yard where it belongs. Other than that, Natalie Creek was okay, and I haven't personally gotten any phone calls of anyone's basements taking on water or their property taking on water that came over from the street, except in the Belly Button Hill area. So overall, it did okay. I don't know, has anybody else gotten any phone calls from any residents or property owners, businesses?
Trip C area, Fairways in Midlothian.
Okay. Did their homes flood, or did their
No.
street flood?
Not the
Streets.
Street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the street. I mean,
Storm sewer
even-
back up.
Even that, my street is one of the highest elevations, and the sewer out front was bubbling.
Bubbling.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just the sheer amount of water was
Right,
too much.
it was
for-
just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a ton of water today. But, if this were 2013, we would be having a whole different conversation. We'd all be out there in our mucklucks doing something, right? Yeah, big boots, hip waders. Obviously, you don't have a pair of those, you're questioning me. I have a pair, neoprene to me.
I do too. I was wearing them this weekend.
Yeah.
And you call them mucklucks?
No, I called them waders.
I didn't think
Hip
so.
waders, yeah. Okay. Next item, Popeyes. So, I'm bringing up Popeyes because, as you know, the village approved their sign variance and their special use for the drive-through back in September of 2023. However, by the time these matters came before the zoning board and then to the village board for approval, Popeyes had really started this project somewhere around 2021, when former superintendent Nick Weinert was still here. And then he left the village, and then former superintendent Witt came aboard, and there was some confusion whether or not they needed a special use for the drive-through. First, they were told, no, you didn't, and then they were told, yes, you did. So they had to start the process, and then Superintendent Witt left, and that left nobody in the building department to handle zoning matters. So I stepped in, read a whole lot, and then tried to get this pushed forward. Well, timing-wise for them as a corporation, they've got projects lined up for a certain amount of time, and they ran out of time to start this project. So that's the reason why it sat for a year and a half. So they have resubmitted their drawings to the building department just a couple weeks ago. Building department made some notes. They're working on revising them. I'm coming to the board asking for the board, because of the delays in getting their special use and variance to the board in a timely fashion, through no delay of themselves, I'm asking the board if they would consider an extension and allowing their 2023 approvals to stay in place and move forward.
How
Because
long is an
traditionally,
extension?
pardon?
How long?
I mean, extend it until now, so they don't have to reapply. Pursuant to our village code, I believe, once a variance and special use is granted, the applicant has like 6 months to commence doing whatever the work is. So again, due to no delay on their part, just sheer circumstances of timing and trying to get their projects lined up, I'm asking the board if they would consider just allowing those approvals, those ordinances to stand.
For another 6 months, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they've started the process now, right? So,
And Kathy said nothing's changed from what?
nothing's changed.
Okay.
Their plan, their footprint, everything is still the same. They've not changed anything on the drawing in that form or fashion, no.
I'm fine with that.
All right, so I can go ahead and send them a note and let them know that their ordinance and special use are still valid and they can move forward and they don't have to reapply. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item is with regards to the village's fire district. So I just learned about this fire district myself about 2.5 years ago. So in the village has established a fire district, which is along all of our main thoroughfares. Cicero, Pulaski, the west side of Kedzie, and all up and down 147th Street. And from what the fire district states is from the center line of all of those roads, going 150 feet in either direction, that's the fire district. Any buildings located within the fire district, whether they are existing and being remodeled or repaired or to be new, they are to be built with non-combustible materials. So the problem that the building department has run into a couple times, well, and it's not even the building department's problem, is that a lot of contractors and architects and property owners are not aware of this fire district. So when they look at the village building codes, they go to Title IV, they follow what's in Title IV. They don't think to go and look in the fire code as well. And that's where this information is residing right now, is only in Title VII, which is the fire code. So I'm asking the attorney if he could draw up a real short ordinance, 2, 3, 4 sentences that just simply cross-references the village's fire district information and put it in Title IV so that it's there, so that when contractors and architects are, preparing drawings, they are preparing them in the correct fashion. And I'll give you 2 examples, but I only remember the name of one project. One of the projects is Popeyes. So they prepared their original plans, and on their architect drawings, the whole building was gonna be, they were using wood studs, and they can't, they have to use metal studs. And it got missed by former superintendents, and it was caught by our building inspector this last round when they resubmitted their drawings for, update and approval. Mark noticed that, because he did not review these plans prior, the superintendents reviewed them. And Mark saw that they had put wood studs in there, and they can't use wood studs, they have to be metal. So, and I know that I had many conversations with the Popeyes architects due to their applications for the special use and the variance. And apparently that was never told to them, so. So I know that they're trying to follow our ordinances, that's, not an issue there. They just didn't know it because they didn't see it in Title IV, which is where all of our building codes are located, so. Does that make sense, what I explained? Okay. So Attorney Valadez, would you be able to draft up a short and sweet little ordinance that would cross-reference?
Yes, I can do that. Have we contacted the fire department to see if 7-1 is still applicable in the manner and form that it currently exists?
I have not, but I
I will
read
do
it
I'll
and,
do it.
yeah.
There's a note under 711 that says, see also section 414 for it.
Right, but in section 414, I don't think it's referenced.
Okay.
You want it to go the other
So
way?
it needs to go back the other way
Gotcha.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it needs to that's the cross-reference I'm looking for.
Gotcha.
I'll speak to the fire department to confirm
Okay.
that.
Thanks very much, appreciate it. I know that there was another project that happened on, but I just can't remember off the top of my head what it is. And is that the only thing that my computer just went to sleep? Is that the only thing under my agenda?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
I respectfully.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Trustee Kilby.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee has a policy basically that every 3 years we're going to do an RFP for insurance services for risk and health insurance broker services, just to make sure that we're getting the best service we possibly can get for the Village of Midlothian. We don't want to do two brokers in 1 year, so this year we're going to do the risk insurance, the liability and property insurance, and we've created, Director Redmond has created a RFP to go out to, for that, and we just need the board approval that would authorize that RFP to go out to, for these services. So if there's any questions or discussion about that, I'd like to have that put on for the consent agenda for next meeting. Okay. Next, I know we have a date for Mars Day, which is May 3rd. And we've had some trouble getting a date for cleanup day because of different dates. The personnel we need are not available, including myself, on one date. And so Superintendent Swanson would like to have it on May 3rd also. He says that it's worked out well in the past. They have everything on one day. And we're going to have Super Cleanup Day and Mars Day all in one big mix here. So if there's any discussion or questions about that, otherwise we'll start publicizing that too. Cleanup Day is a volunteer day to clean up some properties around Midlothian and maybe some business areas. And it starts at 9 o'clock. And it's going to go till 11:30, and then we're going to give the volunteers some nice lunch. That's some of our businesses in Midlothian are very nice to donate some food for that. And so we'll see how many volunteers we can get out and how much we can clean up and get our Midlothian area look really spiffy.
Very good.
Okay, and the last thing I have to talk about is our friend ePay, which of course is not a nice subject. ePay is our new credit card processor, and we did a lot of vetting about ePay before we signed on with them. A lot of the things that were supposed to happen and what kind of customer service they would have, what kind of efficiencies would be for the front office and back office, and it was promised that it would be customer friendly, that they could mirror what we had been getting from PSN, our former processor, and also that it was more efficient for the back office and the front office. And it turned out that, and the third thing was, of course, that it was it was promised to be less expensive for the people that use credit cards, our residents, by quite a lot, 0.5 point. That turned out to be true. The cost was going to turn out to be well, but it's turned out that the back office, it's actually it's less efficient to use them. It's more time spent to try to work with ePay from the front office, and the back office efficiencies haven't turned up at all, the bookkeeping efficiencies. And also, we noticed that they're not mirroring PSN as far as sending emails to the online users. And we did send out a survey, and that's pretty much mirrored here, that 54% of the users, it's only 24 people responded so far, but I don't think this is big news, that 54% of the people are highly dissatisfied with it, and the main issue is that they would like to have an itemized bill before they pay their water bill, and they are not able to get it. We could do a workaround, and here's another workaround that we'd have to do, that we don't want to do. So the consensus is from the front office and the clerk that we should go back to PSN, and that has, we've worked with that. I did a search of about 30 communities for what they do with their convenience fees, and PSN is going to be 3%, but that is right there with everybody. It's either it's right in the median. Nobody's really lower, and a lot of
Except
towns.
ePay.
Pardon me?
Except
for ePay, which doesn't give us what we want.
Right.
But hardly anybody has ePay. Only 4 towns that I found. Everybody else is either right there at 3% or higher. So that's how that is good. PSN also is giving us the great service that they gave us before, ease of use for the consumer, for the resident, and ease of use for the back office. Lastly, PSN in the past only let us use a couple of modules to pay water bill and one other thing. We can add modules in the futures if we want to add for other payments, tickets, whatever we might like to do. So they've enhanced their product. Attorney Murphy did review the contract. I think that was sent out to you today. What his findings are, and basically it's what any standard credit card processor will tell you, that basically their rates can change. And it's a 5-year contract to start out with, and we could opt out. If it renews after 5 years, we could opt out within 60 days if we wanted to change. So the consensus is obviously to change back to PSN, get everything back the way it was, so the residents are much happier. And if there's any discussion about that. If not, I'd like to, if you read Attorney Murphy's memo and you have any questions, we can, Attorney Murphy or myself can work on that to answer them, but I think it's pretty straightforward. And so if possible, we'd like to get that approved on the consent agenda for next meeting, and so we can hopefully we can get PSN up and running by May 1st.
I'm fine with it. Did ePay promise that they could mail out our water bills, and then they're just not doing it?
Yes.
So they told us initially they could do it, and now they can't.
They don't notify us. They can notify us that there's a bill apparently, but they can't send out the bill. They can say that something's due,
Mm-hmm.
but in order to find out, you have to call up the front office to get the bill. Or we could work with Locus and try to do a whole other workaround and send out the bills through Locus on a separate.
But I mean, when we were talking to
Oh, yeah.
ePay, they said we could send the bill, and they're just
They
not doing it.
promised that they
Okay.
could send the bill.
Okay.
Which I don't know what that means. The bill means it's an itemized bill. It's
Right.
not just hi, something's due.
You owe us $500.
You owe us $500 and you don't know what it is.
Okay.
And then they also also promised it would be easier for the front office, and it's actually turned out to be more work for the front office to track down some things. And they also promised that some of the bookkeeping functions to Locust would be done automatically.
Right,
That's
and
not
they're
true. That's not true.
Wow.
That's not true. If it's done by, if it's started by the front office, fine, but they have to do a lot of work too. So it's gonna be easier on everybody's end. The idea was to save the residents some money. When we initially looked at this, it seemed like it was a good idea. We wanted to save the credit card users especially a lot of, a good amount of money, but there's a reason it's cheaper. So that's
We're
it.
getting what we paid for.
Yeah, we're getting what we paid for. So I'd like that put on the consent agenda also, please.
I think that's what I was gonna say too, is that's the important thing. When EPA came to us and said, we showed them what we did, they said they could do it all, and the benefit was only to the residents, we were saving them almost a whole percent in fees. Unfortunately, that 1% or 0.75% wound up causing all of us, because we get our bills the same way,
Right.
all of us, the frustration of not getting our bills electronically anyway.
Yes. An itemized bill. And that's all I have here.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Crowley.
Thank you, sir. Just a couple things tonight. First, I just want to notify the board. I had talked about a few small grants that the police department has applied for recently. The EMS Region 7 Healthcare Coalition grant has been awarded to the police department in the amount of $5,680. This award is for advanced medical training equipment. It is a reimbursable grant, so we will have to purchase it and then we will get reimbursed. So I just wanted to make the board aware of that. Next on my agenda, just so that the board is aware, the General Assembly closed, the General Assembly closed on March 21st, and that was the deadline for some of the bills that they've proposed to get out of committee. Out of the 6,500 bills that were proposed, it looks like about 780 actually got out of committee. There's about 11 of them that may directly affect the village, so I'm gonna send that out to the departments over the next few days, just so they can peruse them. Don't know if they will get out. We should know more by April 11th. That's the deadline for them to pass out of where they're at now. So just a couple to be aware of, Kathy especially with building department. So I'll get those to you guys soon. Next, I just wanted to talk a little bit about something exciting. I've been talking about a streetscaping architect for a few months now. We did go out and take bids on that. Today, our economic development consultant, Mayor LaRue, myself and Trustee Burbat, met with 2 of the 4 architects that we will be, that we are interviewing to bring to the board for approval. We will be bringing one of them to the board for approval. And I have to say, I think Trustee Burbat and Mayor LaRue will agree, it was invigorating. It's probably a good word. I mean, it was so exciting to see some of the possibilities that we have. I know everyone's laughing at me, but I was so excited. My face got red. The mayor got a little giggly. I don't know how that happened.
In 8 years, I've never heard you use that word.
I know. I was invigorated by it.
It was very exciting
Yes,
to
it
see
was.
the second presentation.
It was really exciting. Just a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of ideas to bring to our downtown area to make it vibrant, to attract more businesses. And I say it all the time, start of something great. Like, it really is going to be the start of something great. Just some of the ideas that were thrown at us, I think we're all a little overwhelmed, but it was really amazing. Just to follow up on that, Mayor and I had our kickoff meeting with CMAP last week. I couldn't remember if it was before or after our board meeting, so I don't know if I talked about it. But we did have our kickoff meeting with CMAP for our the safety grant that we got from them, which we'll be going and doing the traffic safety engineering. And we are waiting for our next meeting to move forward, but they sound like they're all in, and they're gonna work with whoever we pick as our streetscaping architect to make sure that we're looking at things from a safety perspective as well as a beautification perspective. So we will keep everybody updated as we have updates, but I just wanted to share one of the architects that we met today was really high on community engagement. So hopefully the community who, people who want to be engaged and want to come and give us their opinions on what they want, we're definitely making it a priority to pick a company that will allow the residents to do that, which I think is really important. So I'm really excited. And that's all I have this evening, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'm sure I did not get giggly.
I didn't think you were giggly.
I think you smiled.
I might have smiled, yes. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Excellent stuff.
Oh, and then just for a closed session, that's all I have. I have closed session, right? Yes. Okay. That's all I have.
You done? Okay.
I think so. I'm going to take Kathy Caveney's role tonight. I'm going to reserve my right. How's that?
Attorney Valdez.
Yes, last month I told the board that we had an avalanche of litigation facing the village, and that I was confident that when all was said and done, that most of the cases would be successfully defended. The cases are currently winding through the various courts and administrative agencies. Specifically, I know the board would be interested in knowing that the Illinois Labor Relations Board responded to the union's ULP, which was eventually dismissed, but prior to it being dismissed, the Illinois Labor Relations Board dismissed it with prejudice, stating that the union had failed to state a cause of action for any ULP. In other words, what they said was not a ULP, and the village's response was sufficient to dismiss it with prejudice. So I know you'd want to hear that. Since I've been here, we've had several ULPs filed against the village, and we have been successful in defending all of them. And that's simply because the village of Midlothian does not commit unfair labor practices. The second item was, I told you last month that we had a case that was being appealed, a motion to reconsider that involved a towing case that sued the Midlothian Police Department. I did not get notice of the lawsuit until after a default judgment had been entered. We argued that the Midlothian Police Department is not an entity that can be sued. And thankfully, and believe it or not, a Cook County judge agreed with us, saying that you can't sue an entity that doesn't exist. So the case was vacated, the judgment was vacated, and now we'll get to the substantive issues of the tow, in which I am very, very confident we will be victorious with regard to that, should the the plaintiff refile it and sue the proper entity, which would be the Village of Midlothian. This goes along with the case 2 weeks ago regarding the Caliente Beer Garden, in which the village was successful in an administrative review action. So we're on a little bit of a run here, and like I said, I know you'd be happy to hear that. Finally, the last item I have is the Trib C MWRD intergovernmental agreement. The version that was passed after the several different versions that went through did not have a reiteration of a agreed upon clause which said that the mayor, in conjunction with the village attorney, could make minor tweaks to the agreement in order to accommodate developing issues. So we'll be bringing, and if you could put it, if the deputy clerk can put it on the agenda for next week, we will get you, you've already agreed to this before, it just didn't make it into the latest issue that you, resolution that you passed. So we'll be asking you to pass it. And essentially, again, all it says, it's a one-line paragraph that says that if there should be a need for a tweak, a minor issue, or something that needs to be changed in the resolution, that the mayor, along with the village attorney, can sign off on doing that. And I'm sure I speak for the mayor when I said, and if we were to do that, we would notify you of that before we did. And that's all I have.
Yes, we would. All right, thanks, sir. Under my business, I threw on the agenda the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus 2024-2025 membership dues. It's the amount of $644. Just asking the board to approve that next week, but just to tell you some of the things they do. Besides working with 275 municipalities, they continue to advocate and help secure more funding back from the local government distributed fund. They're expanding on their regional climate action plan. They're building upon an age-friendly communities collaborative. They're developing and unveiling a DEI website and workshops. They're improving relationships with the governor and Illinois legislators. They also work with the Illinois Congressional delegation on securing funding for the Mayor's Caucus EV readiness workshops, promoting empowering safe communities, empowering the holidays grants programs, providing technical assistance through our Homes for a Changing Region project, and most importantly, continuing to work collaboratively with each of our member communities to address and resolve the many challenges local governments face. So I'll be asking the board to approve that next week. Is there any issue? $644 for the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus. Consent agenda. And then going back to May 3rd, gonna be a busy day. Our new Cook County Commissioner, Keisha McCaskill, has offered to host a recycling event here in Village Midlothian. We're gonna do that on May 3rd, the same day as the cleanup day. 10 to 2, we'll do it in the big parking lot over there. They will be collecting clothes, textiles, styrofoam, household recycling, paper, plastic, metal, glass, and also electronics and small appliances. It's no cost to the village. I know that we have the electronic recycling program through our garbage company now, but it's free to the village, so I thought it'd be a good idea to do so. And that's all I have.
That's awesome. Did you say they were gonna take styrofoam also?
Styrofoam, but it
Awesome.
has to be
Gotta be
clean,
clean.
no food, tape, or labels.
And can anybody participate in it, or is it just strictly for the residents of Midlothian?
It could be anyone, because it's through the county and they can go let anyone come. That's all I have. Clerk Mosco.
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you, sir. Then at this time, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn to closed session to discuss collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or the representatives, and also to discuss appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in closed session. There's no further action following closed session. Thank you all.